outside the Vineyard Hotel in Cape Town in front of this, a monstrous 5-litre V8. Power, strength, just unbeatable. Kind of makes me think of a certain World Cup winning Springbok captain. Remember 2007? Oh, the glory. What a magnificent year that was. In actual fact, if you've still got a bottle of red that says 2007 on it, maybe while you're watching this you want to crack it open, because ladies and gents, a man who needs a little introduction in terms of massive South African sporting icons is Mr. John Smit. Hello, Smitty!
Rock. I've had a few introductions, but being compared to a Mustang with power,
V8 stealth. I mean, you just know when you see this anywhere that you're up against Ford power, Mustang power, reliability.
Look, I like the comparison. I think a lot of other spectators would have gone with the more diesel.
Diesel powered? No, this is grunt. This is, so this is power, torque. This is
coming from a rugby expert.
Yeah.
I could safely compare myself to the Mustang.
Absolutely, and you don't want the diesel. You want the 5-litre. Look, I mean, you know cars, and we're going to find out a little bit more about your knowledge of cars. But this is bread and butter. This is a 5-litre V8. Anywhere in the world, this is power.
This is happiness.
Yeah,
happiness.
it is.
You just have to push the button to here.
Boom.
Happiness.
I want to find out a little bit more about why you're in Cape Town, what you love about Cape Town, and importantly, a little bit about you and your career and what you're doing now with life. So let's hop in the car, and your takes on this car. You're no stranger to the Mustang at all. Let's hop in and let's have a little chat.
Where are we going? McDonald's.
Smitty, so I could be in the car with you, and it's lovely that you're in Cape Town. A lot of people don't know that you actually travel a lot, and Cape Town is often on the radar for you.
It is, yeah, it is. I started coming here obviously for rugby.
Yeah.
So
do you remember when your first trip as a rugby player was to Cape Town?
Yeah, the thing is, this trip that sticks out is probably 1998. Yeah. Under 21 World Cup. So I think at the time we had the likes of Victor, Sean Sowerby, Yakud van der Westhuizen, a whole host of acts that obviously just come out of school. And we were based at a hotel in Newlands, just down the road here from the Vineyard. So
this is beautiful. The Vineyard is iconic.
The whole area, and I mean, I always stay here at the Vineyard. So it's just really cool. But as a rugby player, my first impressions of Cape Town, I used to dread coming here. Yeah. It was we only come here in the winter. It's wet. And then you got that the smell from the brewery, and you're like, this is, and you come in there and you got to go from like 18 mil studs to 21 mil studs, because it's always moist. So initially, I wasn't a massive fan of Cape Town, but then the more you come, the more you realize it's actually it's like a separate country. It is within South Africa. It's just a very different, far more European vibe, where there's just a lot of mixed cultures and nations and people, and the restaurants, as you can well imagine for a guy of my size and stature, are a massive plus. The wine farms, and the friends. I've just got the majority of my friends are based in the Cape, so I love meetings in Cape Town, because it gives me an excuse to meet up with people and have dinners and lunches and see mates.
Because it takes more than one visit to get business done anyway. You've got to come back 3-4 times to seal the deal.
Look, no one rushes anything.
No one rushes anything in Cape Town.
Look, I thought Durban was slow. No, to be fair, the only town that really beats Cape Town for time and urgency is Durban. I mean, Durban actually,
and up
sometimes
north,
I think, sometimes I think the clock's actually going backwards in Durban. But this is, I think there's an art to that as well. I live in Pretoria, so Gauteng, things happen quickly and it's
rapidly
fast.
Happens.
But that's why it's good to decongest and come to a place like the Cape.
What? Let's just take you back. Obviously, we got 2007 and we got rugby. Was rugby something you always, as a youngster, was set and destined to play and to pursue?
Not at all. The thing that kept me motivated and excited was tennis. I was gonna play at Wimbledon one day, and as a youngster I was obviously a bigger than usual kid, so I had the serve and volley down to a pat. I used to play on the ATP tour, and as a youngster go through the tournaments. can't say that I ever won a tournament, but tennis was my passion. I used to play 7 days a week as much as I could. The biggest issue was getting homework done so I could get across. I lived in a town, I'm not even sure you'll remember it, Boksburg. It was called Boksburg at the time. And our house was literally across the road from the tennis club. So that was...
You were there. You lived at the tennis club.
I used to hang around waiting for guys to play against. So I hit the ball against the wall there for a large amount of hours as a youngster. But only started rugby really when I left Gauteng and went to junior school in Rustenburg in the northwest. So I started at the age of 11 and a half is when I first started playing rugby, which is late for a South African. And I think I was probably the first oak to ever get close to like a Stellarland trials.
Wow.
I don't know if you even know.
No idea. I've never heard of Stellarland.
Yeah, it's a metropolitan area like Lichtenburg and Rustenburg and Moyne. Those would make up Stellarland. So then went to Pretoria Boys High and
then the rest is history.
Tennis wasn't exactly in the top 10 spaces of the sporting criteria there.
Was Elon there when you were there?
He wasn't. I think I missed him by a couple of years. I'm not that old, but
I actually don't know how old Elon is, so to be fair. But he's also obviously a Pretoria High's boy.
He is.
And obviously then the rest is history, as they say, and a phenomenal career, and straight from that into business. I mean, and literally, I don't say straight from that because business started while you were playing rugby. You always had entrepreneurial flair, the energy, the networking capabilities to be able to set things in place from a very young age, and it's something that's obviously put you in great stead, just in general in life.
I think business is different to sport, but it's based on the same concepts. Again, I probably dabbled a lot more than most when I was playing and did some good things, did some bad things. Like every rugby player back in the day, I owned a coffee shop, which was a complete disaster. But I got free cake.
And nothing wrong with that.
Very expensive, a couple of pieces of cake. I've had actually one of the better businesses I had was a muscle car shop. American toy store.
But okay, so let's talk about it because that's going to lead me on to where I'm going to with this as well. Is that from a young age your love, because it's something that's you either have or you don't. You don't pick it up later on in life. You either love muscle cars or you don't, or cars or you don't.
I love cars in general. Muscle cars do stick out. I've had a chapter of muscle cars, an expensive chapter, but cars, and I can tell you where it came from. I mean, my dad also was a petrol head, and he used to get a company car once a year. So every year we would go through the catalogs and decide specs and price. There was a price range that he could choose between, and I was part of this. I sort of jumped in this process, and we would discuss horsepower, consumption, space, everything. And
the back of the car magazine.
And what I liked about my dad, it's probably why I make probably immature decisions, is that horsepower normally trumped comfort.
Yes, absolutely.
It's certainly, I mean, in those days there weren't the option of 7-seaters, and we should have had a 7-seater because he had three boys. And I'm certainly I'm by no means the biggest by a long way. So it was one of those things where he was like, okay, this is the 3-litre, but it's only got 4 seats, but I'm sure like John could squeeze into the middle. That is bad. So that's sort of where cars became a big thing for me. And ever since, I think, if I think about the time and the effort that I've put into collecting cars, buying cars, selling cars, restoring cars. In fact, my first project was a 1965 coupe Ford Mustang.
I mean, muscle cars, there's nothing for me on earth, nothing beats a V8. It is the engine to have, you know what I mean?
It is. And I mean, if I think back to that Mustang versus what are we driving here, I mean, like, I was honestly relieved every time that thing started. And especially when you parked somewhere sort of quite public, in front of a coffee shop or a restaurant,
restarted.
Like you take a bit of a breath, and as it clicks over, you're like, say a little prayer, thank you, because I'll never forget, we had a line-out session, and I was coming in this. I just got at the back end of this restoration. I just got this coupe, and I came past the line-out session, which was being held in a park there in Durban North somewhere. And specifically come a little bit later so that the guys could all be out there. So I thought, no, this is the perfect opportunity just to drop the clutch a little bit, light up the sort of stage with the back wheel action. And as I dropped the clutch and gave this 1965 fully restored Mustang everything I got, something just went kabah! Clutch gone. I mean, I had to get towed away. And so you can imagine the amount of
and everybody was there around and they're looking at you.
The amount of pleasure they brought. AJ Fenton specifically probably would regard that as a sporting highlight. So I've learned to be a little bit less aggressive in public. I did have the best Mustang I ever owned.
Is that the one I saw recently up
also coupe, the black one.
The black one.
That was just an unbelievable car. What a story. And I came by that car by luck, and it was just well built. It could actually brake. It didn't steer badly, and it had unbelievable power off the line. So I was at the toll gate between Durban and Belita, and this chap that was taking my money to get through the toll, he saw me coming out. He was so excited, and it's quite lucky to see people getting excited
and watch them light up.
I mean, even now we're driving around Cavendish, and people are looking at the Mustang. It's just it's a
head turner.
It turns the head. And this guy goes, "Please, man, don't you just want to give it a bit?" So I was like, it doesn't take a hell of a lot to get someone in a Mustang to give it, because it's a special request.
Absolutely.
So I give it, but I definitely underestimated petrol versus clutch speed. And now the back wheels are going, and I'm the windows open, and this oak is, I swear, I've never seen a happier oak in my life. He's loving it. He thinks I've got everything under control, but I've got the back wheels going and I'm not moving. I'm like edging forward, and I'm thinking to myself, if I decelerate here, this thing's going to hook a left or right, and I'm going to take the toll gate with me. And I just sort of kept that thing, and I slowly crawled out while you're spinning. This oak, I think my reputation with him went up by about 1,000. And my anxiety levels getting out of that toll gate without actually having damaged anything was phenomenal.
He's brilliant. Do you still have quite a collection at the moment? What does the current collection look like?
It's quite a difficult topic because I'm married to a chartered accountant.
Oh, wow.
She doesn't really understand the investment value of these cars. So, no, I must say, I always tell her that men have a plethora of vices.
I love that. Plethora. I love that.
Plethora of vices, and I think that my list of vices are on the bottom end, if you know, compared to the average man. So it's a debate, but that's what I sort of tell her. Anyway, at the moment, I haven't had a muscle car for quite some time, but I might have
purchased a little sneaky.
This might be the program.
This might be a shocker.
She finds out, but I might have found a little 1965 fastback Mustang project. It looks. Honestly.
You showed me the pictures of it.
I've seen pot plants in their condition. So it's a proper barn find. It's a long road, and that's the thing with restoration of cars. It's a minefield of challenges. Money, patience, and time.
At that time.
So I got that. I've had quite a long run on the old Land Rover stuff. So I love the Defender. I've got a few of those. Short wheel base TDI 90 pickup.
And you went through the splitties. You went through quite your love for splitties. I remember at one stage I needed advice about 5 years ago. Do you remember there was that splitty that came on the market? And I asked you, I said, look at this. Can you just tell me, give me your thoughts on it? And at that stage it was pretty reasonable. But the market's kind of it's blown up.
It's sort of, it's funny because the worst VW I've ever owned was an Auto Villa. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I remember that.
They partnered with Jurgen, and it was a camper van basically. And I was like, I restored this thing like from scratch, had the engine rebuilt, and I got into it. And honestly, I drove this for the first 5Ks. I thought there was a guy in the back of the camper van with an AK-47 with an unlimited amount of ammunition, and I was like, holy smoke, I'm gonna have to put like earmuffs, like as if I'm going hunting to get from one place to the other. So I think it lasted a month, and I actually sold it to a guy from New Zealand.
Jeez.
He exported it out to New Zealand, but that was probably not one of my most successful restorations. But the Defenders are good because I try and find a dog and then have it redone and resprayed and fixed up, and that's just they've just grown in value. The 90s especially. I've just picked up also a double cab 110, but that's for the short stuff around town. For long stuff, I've got the Land Cruiser.
Oh, the new LC 300.
That is just arrived.
Oh man, what a great buy! That is just one of my best 4x4s.
And it's funny, everyone always sort of thinks I'm a Land Rover guy, and I was sponsored by Land Rover for a long time. But my first ever sponsor was a Toyota Prado from Durban North Toyota. The day I became captain, they gave me that.
What a great vehicle!
4-litre Prado.
Heavy on juice, but great.
A delightful car. Delightful car.
Yeah. We're in Cape Town, and I want to touch on Cape for all our friends at Cape Town, etc. What's special about the Cape now that you can spend more time, not in the city to play, but here for business and leisure? What about Cape Town really? And we spoke about this, I guess, in the beginning. But are there any certain areas of Cape Town that you love the most?
So I'm a massive fan of Newlands, the southern suburbs. It's just, I think, because I've got probably a large majority of people. Like, you stay at the Vineyard, you've got 5, 6, 7 people to call for a coffee or a dinner or a catch up. And the other thing is, I leave a set of clubs here, and I've had the odd mountain bike here. You jump on your bike and you're on the mountain. You can do 25 Ks in the mountains, 800 meters of climbing, and you've got a proper workout, and you back at Forries for a beer, before it's time for supper. So, like, I think there's from that point of view, like a lifestyle point of view, it's probably one of the things that I think I'll have a Cape Town chapter at some stage in my life when I'm big.
You have to.
I love coming here, so I get the best of both worlds. But I also have thoroughly loved this new chapter in Pretoria. I mean, I never thought I'd say it, but my family just loves
Pretoria. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
You should see the brandy specials they have.
I'll see it next month. I'm coming along. It's still very involved in give back. I know that you via Barney's Army, and there's no challenge that you don't put your hand up and say, listen, I'm pretty keen to put my body in and take a whole lot of guys and do some good work with the kind of a good fortune I've had. I'm willing to still continue and leave a legacy.
Look, it's the one thing I found that I've really been blessed. My rugby career has been blessed. I've had amazing opportunities after rugby to be able to transition, and along the way, you get thrown into the side of South Africa that a lot when you're a Springbok, because you do a lot as the brand of Springboks. You do a lot for people in need, and so it sort of sparked something. And we started Barney's Army Foundation in 2012 with that game against the Sharks. And it was my first year having left South Africa and playing for Saracens, and so it started from there. It really is a small thing. I certainly don't shout out around about it, because we started helping 3 organisations. Live Village, for kids on the street, to give them homes. Bobby Bear for sexually abused kids, and then the Chris Berger Petra Jackson Fund, which is for people who've been injured from a spinal injury point of view in rugby. So, but it's branched off to many things. I mean, currently right now we've got our first golf day on the go next month. Spectacular. And because we've adopted a school about 5 Ks from where we live in Centurion, and we've redone the kitchen, we've painted the school, we've cleaned up, and we're looking to now. Next thing is, depending on how the fundraising goes, is to redo the sports field, give them maybe a little astro for netball and hockey and that kind of thing. So it is a cool thing to do. People always say, how can it's just drop in the ocean? But there's so much. If all of us just did a little bit,
spot on,
so many people would be better off. So I certainly can by no means say I am a philanthropist of note, because we do what we can in the spare time that we have, and we help where we can, and it's very rewarding. Difficult thing about charity is the more you give, the more you realize just how much need there is. But it is rewarding. So helping people, I've been helped in my life.
And also, I mean, it's you can see why people can rather give money instead of time, because it's the one thing we just don't have enough of is time, and we juggle heavy days, and when you become successful, you find it's slightly easier to be able to contribute financially than with time, and you manage to be able to, even though you're very modest about it, but you're able to do both. You're able to take a section of your time out and go, well, I'm actually going to use this time to actually do some good back. And it's not only about the money being raised raised and about the awareness that you raised, but it's also about that time away from your family and business and life. And like you say, you don't like making too much of a big noise about it, but I think it needs to be mentioned that you do great work. And to everyone involved, there's so many unsung heroes that come along and they play a golf day and they get involved in a ride or they get involved in some other, and they have fun by doing it, but at the same time they make a huge difference. So Barney, just
you always sort of guys always know they're always going to get fleeced at some stage during the year.
Good.
And the reason why I don't try and put too much of a spotlight is so that the guys that are getting fleeced and are putting their hands in their pockets and are coming to the golf days and helping with the feeding stations, they also get a benefit out of it.
Absolutely. Okay, finally, before we wrap your time up, because I know you've got a plane to catch and then schedule other meetings to come and close the meetings that you started in Cape Town, let's quickly talk. The All Blacks are coming. We're expecting we don't know what to expect. What are we going? What do you think we're expecting?
Well, I know what the general public is expecting. The general public is expecting us to absolutely wipe the floor and win the championship and put another cabin in the trophy. And without doubt, I would say we are the favourites to win this championship. But it doesn't work like that. I mean, you imagine the turmoil when we only won in the last minute in the first test against Wales, and then lo and behold, we lost in the last minute. Okay, albeit for a weak referee not calling the scrum penalty, but we lost the second test, and then we smashed them in the third test. But every team poses a different challenge, and I think to give people my humble opinion around what to expect is always get excited. The chances of the Springbok team winning on a Saturday are always high. But we play a kind of rugby that is, as a comparison, like playing golf. The Springboks are a 7-iron, 5-iron tee box with a wedge in, and they're putting their birdie putt close to the hole
all the time.
So they're playing for par. Every now and again, when they have to go for a birdie because the opposition is coming, they'll go for a birdie. So that's the way we play. We don't throw it around. We don't. We only do that when we need to.
Got you.
So we a percentages kind of team.
Yes.
And the stats talk to it. Rassie and his coaching team and Jacques and all of them are they're statisticians. That they're there to decide what's going to give us the best results. I mean, every single person, when they see the penalty, they go for the corner rather than for the pulse.
For the pulse,
The percentage of return is so small. So always expect Springboks to win, but it's always going to be tough against the All Blacks. It's the oldest foe, it's the biggest rival, but we play in a way that doesn't really allow for us to smash someone by 50 points. And the All Blacks, say what you like, I know they've just lost the series against Ireland. They just like us always get themselves into a different space for a Springbok test, just like we get ourselves into a different space for All Black test. So I am very curious to see how it works out, but I think it's going to be tight.
I think so too. Outside of rugby, are you a massive cricket fan? Do people know that you love cricket? Do you watch other sports? I know you enjoy the Premiership action as well.
I have to be honest, and I think Graham Smith's going to hate me for saying this because he's a mate of mine. But the day my son came back from school and said he's giving up cricket, I think I celebrated. I think I must have polished off a bottle of champagne with my wife. The fact that I didn't have to sit next to a field watching cricket
for a whole day,
for a whole Saturday.
Exactly.
So I played a bit of cricket at school, but and I love it when they win. But T20 is long for me.
Got you.
So sport-wise, I love tennis. I mean, this Wimbledon final.
Oh man.
It was so different to what we normally used to.
I love Kyrgios. Do you know that?
Well, you either love him or hate him.
I loved him.
And I hadn't watched him for a full game, and I thought his behaviour was
shocking.
Strange.
It was shocking. I loved it.
But then he was so good afterwards. You realise that it's actually just the way his mental state works.
His demeanour.
So tennis is a massive thing for me. I love playing golf, and I can also watch a bit of golf, but I'm not big on TV. I dig doing
so
things,
Premiership, like English Premiership, are you a big fan?
I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yes.
But I can honestly say, if I watch 2 games a year, it's a lot. So I'm tracking scores and standings. That's about it.
Got you.
Rugby, I honestly, I went off rugby a bit. It was sort of getting. That was the same. This URC, this move to the north, it's just reinvigorated me. I can't wait to see the games and watch the results and see how it pans out. And I'm watching. I'm cross-pollinating. I'm seeing how the Premiership's going, the top 14, Heineken Cup. It's been lekker. It's exciting again. So very, very happy to watch some rugby.
listen, it's been an absolute treat having you in this car, the Ford Mustang, the 5-litre V8, the big granddaddy. And like I said, there's so many character traits that this car has. You can put it in drive mode and kind of potter around the whole day in comfort, knowing that any given time underfoot you've got a beast waiting to unleash. I love that about you. I love that about knowing you as off the rugby field, and knowing you and kind of what you're about and what you stand for. I think proud to call you a mate, and A and B, just really honoured to have you on this chat with us in the
Rock,
car.
thank you. I mean, I'm an easy customer when it comes to driving any cars.
Yeah.
And again, I love everything with 4 wheels, but I feel like we have betrayed the audience. This thing hasn't even gone sideways once.
I said we try to shake off just so you know, we try to shake off the camera crew, and I let Smitty go and put his foot down, but he handled it really nicely. So the folks that are watching from Millstock, next time Smitty's in town, he's going to be coming to collect Ferraris, Porsches, McLarens, you name it, he's collecting from you, Louis.
I won't put them sideways.
He won't put them sideways. Smitty, you legend. Thank you.